Today we'll talk about how McCoy Tyner revolutionized jazz piano through the decades. A few visionary musicians have changed the way jazz piano is played. Jelly Roll Morton's buoyant left-hand rhythms, Bud Powell's trumpet-like right-hand lines, Art Tatum's all-over-the-keys wizardry, Thelonious Monk's piquant dissonances and Oscar Peterson's astonishingly fleet technique, among others, opened the instrument to sounds previously unimagined. McCoy Tyner, who died Friday in his New Jersey home at age 81, belonged to this elite class of piano innovators. Before him, no jazz pianist had conjured such sonic force, ferocious rhythmic drive and quasi-orchestral eruptions. If you weren't looking at the keyboard when Tyner was at work, you would have sworn that two pairs of hands were giving it everything they had. Tyner proved the point often in the Chicago area, where he was a frequent attraction at the Jazz Showcase, a periodic headliner in Orchestra Hall and an occasional marquee name at the Ravinia Festival. Regardless of the setting, though, there was no mistaking the man's singular approach to the piano. Stylistically and technically, he defied much of what had preceded him, dispensing with the keyboard clarity of earlier pianists to produce great swirls of sound bathed in unrepentant dissonance. Yet the music proved so thrilling to experience, so dynamic in tone, touch and pulse, that listeners who recoiled at the jazz avant-garde widely embraced Tyner's art. This music emerged in his native Philadelphia, a vibrant jazz city where Tyner encountered saxophonist John Coltrane and pianist Powell, both profound influences on him. Tyner toured and recorded with Coltrane in the 1960s, and the saxophonist's obsessiveness about music rubbed off. He practiced all the time, Tyner told me in 2015. When we traveled, we got to the hotel, John would take out his horn. He was very devoted to it, very devoted. Coltrane's devotion reached its highest and most celebrated peak with the masterwork, A Love Supreme, a 1965 album in which Coltrane articulated his faith via jazz, with Tyner at the piano. During the year 1957, I experienced, by the grace of God, a spiritual awakening which was to lead me to a richer, fuller, more productive life, Coltrane wrote in the album's liner notes. At that time, in gratitude, I humbly asked to be given the means and privilege to make others happy through music. I feel this has been granted through His grace. All praise to God. The recording gave Tyner a measure of jazz immortality. A Love Supreme was a testament, John's testament to a higher power, Tyner told me in 2004. His spiritual inclinations were very strong, which means he believed in something that is more powerful than any of us but is still in all of us. When we made that recording, it was as if we were saying, we're here now, we're going to play, we're going to praise you. Yet during the recording session, in Rudy Van Gelder's New Jersey studio in December 1964, Coltrane didn't fully reveal his musical intent. Just about everything we had recorded with John already had those spiritual feelings, but this recording was much more important to him in specific terms of spirituality, Tyner told me in 2004. But I did not even know that this music was going to be a suite. I knew the pieces were tied together, but that's all. He didn't talk about it to us. He came in, we talked a little about the music, and we played. But as I was leaving, John was recording a vocal chant over a Jimmy Garrison bass line, added Tyner, referring to Coltrane's incantation of the phrase, A Love Supreme. And then when I read the liner notes, when the record came out, I thought, that's what he was trying to do. The pianist managed to forge an identity apart from Coltrane, who died of liver cancer in 1967 at age 40. Tyner compositions such as Passion Dance and Blues on the Corner became part of the jazz repertory, while his galvanic pianism influenced generations. Some of Tyner's most rousing work occurred with his big band, which amplified the near frenzy of his pianism. When he led that ensemble in Grant Park at the Chicago Jazz Festival in 2003, neither A Steady Rain nor the Petrillo Music Shell's muddy acoustics could dampen the power of this music. In the aforementioned Passion Dance, a chorus of braying horns and a combustive rhythm section echoed Tyner's leonine pianism. And when Tyner and his trio collaborated with Jeff Lindbergh's Chicago Jazz Orchestra in Orchestra Hall in 2009, the already mighty CJO sounded newly empowered by the soloist. Never before had I heard CJO soloists ignite such fire. Ever the experimenter, Tyner, and his trio partnered with dancer Savion Glover at the Ravinia Festival in 2005. But Tyner didn't merely accompany the celebrated tapper, he pushed him with unstoppable rhythmic drive and ever-accelerating tempos. Even in more lyrical moments, there was no mistaking the rhythmic tension Tyner brought to Glover's art. Tyner's most frequent home in Chicago was the Jazz Showcase, which was founded by another Philadelphia native, Joe Siegel. Tyner played the club's various locations but always shook up the place. It would be difficult to imagine how any listener could escape being swept up in this wave of sound, I wrote in my 1990 review of Tyner's trio, when the showcase was in the Blackstone Hotel, on South Michigan Avenue. All the more because the trio built to climaxes with irrepressible forward drive. Thus in a piece such as Yesterday's, Tyner and colleagues sustained a single, inexorable crescendo nearly from first note to last. As the years went by, Tyner inevitably lost some of the muscularity and heft of his playing but never its focus, intensity or purpose. At a celebratory 2015 concert in Orchestra Hall featuring Tyner on a bill with two younger pianists, Jerry Allen and Danilo Perez, Tyner looked thin and a bit frail but gathered momentum with each piece. Sitting ramrod straight at the piano, Tyner opened with a poetic solo on his Fly with the Wind, those fat chords, rumbling octaves and streaks of dissonance instantly recognized as signatures of his pianism, I wrote in my review. Pianists Allen and Perez told the audience how they felt about the master. "It is the greatest of honors to share the stage with him," Allen said in launching the evening. Standing next to Tyner later in the night, Perez said, "Maestro, I want to tell you that your music has been very powerful in the world." Such accolades encouraged Tyner to stay on the road. Share your views in comments.